What's up, y'all? It's your boy Clint from the Die Hard MMA podcast coming to you. It is time for the post weigh-in breakdown. Whittaker versus Till, and we got a good one this week, folks. We got to fire straight on through it because we have 15 fights to get to. Some of them I'm going to keep nice and short, especially when there's nothing to talk about. We're going to roll straight on into the interesting ones as quickly as we can. For those of you who are new to Odds HQ and new to the Die Hard MMA podcast, I want to just give you a heads up and let you know how this works. I've done all my homework. I've broken down every single one of these fights. I've talked about my leans, things I may or may not want to bet and look at. And then when we look at these weigh-ins, it's just the cherry on top. It's the icing on the cake. If you're this close to making a bet, if you're on the fence and you see something, body language, a bad weight cut, something that will push you over the edge and give you just that extra little bit to pull the trigger on your bet, that's what we're looking for today. So I know a lot of people in the comments are saying how, irresponsible or crazy it is to make a bet just based off the weigh-ins. Trust me, folks, it is not just based off the weigh-ins, okay? A lot of hard work goes into this on the front end. Let's get into it. Kicking off our night, we've got Nathaniel taking on John Sexy Mexi Castaneda. And yes, every single time I read off that fight, I will say Sexy Mexi because that's his fight name and it's amazing. Both of these men looked awesome. They looked great. Both of them looked confident. Castaneda looked very well muscled and extremely calm for somebody in this position making his debut. And at the face-off, they both look confident and relaxed. That's the kind of thing you want to see from a debuting fighter. And we've got Nathaniel sitting as a minus 430 favorite right now. A little bit of money, finally some buyback coming in on Sexy Mexi at plus 345. This one's a pass from me. I think that Nathaniel is going to win this fight. However, especially after his last performance against John Dodson, I know that's a different caliber of opponent, but I can't trust him here. We don't know where his confidence is at. We don't know where his head is at. And Castaneda is definitely a potential upsetter here. And at 345 plus 350, not a bad price if you feel like rolling the dice, maybe put a little sprinkle on it, something a bit early. I'm completely staying off it, but I do expect Wood to get the win. Ramazan Emeev taking on Nicolas Stolze. This one was fun. Nothing really exciting to report from either of these guys. Both looked good, both looked professional, except when they faced off. Stolze is a decent chunk bigger than Emeev. That's the thing that kind of surprised me. I expected Emeev to be just a little bit more physically imposing. Again, we've got another big favorite, Emeev at minus 420. The comeback on Stolze at plus 335. That's that banana peel pricing. You never know what's going to happen. Again, I expect Emeev to get the win, but from a betting perspective, you can really only look dog or pass. Bethe Correia taking on Pannie Kianzad. Both women come in at 136, so taking that extra 1 pound allowance on the 135 limit. Bethe, as always, played up to the camera. She danced a little bit. She did her little shadow boxing thing up on the stage, so she was having a good time. And then Kianzad, she looks in phenomenal shape. Now, she got up. She was all business. She got up, she weighed in, she got off, and then when they went to the face-offs, she was pretty intense. I didn't really expect that there was going to be this intense of a stare down with these two women. I mean, Bethe always goes for it, but Kianzad was right there and ready to go. They went nose to nose, and I was a little surprised at how much bigger Kianzad looked when they actually got in each other's faces. I'm on Kianzad already, got a bet locked in on her. I like that one, and we're just going to have to see how that one plays out. Tanner Boser taking on Raphael Pessoa. Both men looked about as you would expect. I mean, Boser weighed in at 235. Pessoa came in at the limit 265. And Boser didn't look too flabby. Doesn't look like he gained a bunch of that weight back. He still looks pretty solid, pretty in good shape. Pessoa looked the same as ever. He's a big dude. He's flabby. He rubbed his gut. He did the Roy Nelson thing. Big old fat heavyweight. And the height difference is not what I expected. What I thought was funny, though, is whenever they come in for the face-offs, the first heavyweight fight they're never expecting. They have to, jostle the camera real quick and get it up higher because these giants just tower their ways in and the camera's, looking at their shoulders instead of catching their heads. So that was fun. But when they faced off face-to-face, I mean, Boser just doesn't look that much smaller. There's a huge 30-pound difference between these guys. Pessoa's gonna have a height and a reach advantage. His long arms were obvious when they synced up there, but Boser didn't look out of place, and I thought he was going to look a little bit smaller. So those of you backing on Tanner Boser this fight, he didn't look like he was out of place for sure. I like that spot. I'm passing again on that fight. I think Boser wins, but the line is just a little bit too wide for me. Movsar, Evloev, Mike Grundy. This one was exciting. So both of these dudes came in at 146. They needed that extra 1 pound. Both men well-muscled. Grundy's a brick shithouse, let me tell you. And this was an intense stare down. These guys got in each other's faces. Movsar pulled the sunglasses off because he wanted to stare into the eyes of his opponent. Neither man wanted to break contact. I mean, we had to get Grundy off the stage, and he was like walking away, still mean-mugging and staring down Movsar on his way out. This is going to be a hell of a fight. I'm on Grundy as a dog here, and I love it. I think this is going to be a very, very competitive back-and-forth battle. That kind of intensity just, I can't wait for this one. That's going to be a good one. Tom Aspinall taking on Jake Collier. This is the one, folks. Here we go. Tom Aspinall, big old boy, 248 pounds. He was enjoying himself. He threw his arms up. He was having fun on the scales. Jake Collier weighed in at the limit of 264 pounds. This is a man who fought at 185 and recently moved up to 205. Now he's taking a short notice fight at heavyweight, and he's weighing in at the limit. This guy is rolling off the COVID couch. He looked like the man who ate Jake Collier. He's not in good shape. This is not muscle that he added. He left his t-shirt on like your fat uncle when you go to the public pool doesn't want to take his shirt off. That was Jake Collier at this weigh-in. And then when they faced off, Tom is huge. He's absolutely massive. He looks like a man who is 2 weight classes above his opponent. And I pulled the trigger, you guys. Before, I was not sold on Tom. In fact, I was very, very curious to take a stab at Jake. So what I have done at this point is laid the wood. I can't help it. Minus 225 on Tom Aspinall. I'm laying 2.25 units to win a unit here because this is a mismatch. And the way that Collier came in, the way he's out of shape, him weighing that much, that's not good weight. That's not going to help him. He's going to be huffing and puffing about 3 minutes in. I think Tom is just going to absolutely ragdoll him in this fight. Nicolas Dalby taking on Jesse Ronson. Both men coming in at 171. Business as usual. Both guys professional. Intense stare down. Very respectful of each other afterward. Here's the other story of the day. Francisco Trinaldo coming in against Jai Herbert. Jai Herbert got the dang thing done. Extremely tall. We knew we were going to have that height and reach advantage, but really, it was evident now that we see them face-to-face here. So he came in at 156. This fight is scheduled for lightweight 155. Trinaldo came in at 160. He missed that limit by 4 full pounds. This man is getting old. He's 41 years old. That weight cut to 155 we knew eventually would be a problem for him. And honestly, he looked a little deflated. I mean, you would expect him coming in with that extra size maybe to look filled out, more well-muscled. No, and in fact, he looked a little bit smaller than I expected him to be, and he seemed extremely flat. That may have just been disappointment from having missed weight, but he didn't seem like the confident Trinaldo that we're used to seeing. I'm already on Herbert here, but I actually like this spot. I mean, with him missing weight like that, coming in, weighing last. I talked last time about how we thought it might have been a trick. A couple weeks ago, we bet on a guy that came in heavy, thinking that he was doing it purposefully, and it didn't help him a damn bit. Now, obviously, this is a different fighter, so different people react different ways. Maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't, but the way his body language read, I'm really liking my spot here on Jai Herbert, and that line has been absolutely smashed. We beat a huge line movement on Herbert. He's now down to plus 110, plus 105 in some places. That dog money has dried up, folks. I hope you got in on it early with me. All we can do is try to beat those line moves. We got the best of the number. Our money is locked and loaded in here. Now our guys just got to get it done. We already did our job. That's all we can hope for. All right, Kazmat Chimaev taking on Rhys McKee. This one is fun. So 171 for Kazmat and then 170.5 for Rhys. Both men looked extremely confident. Both men ready to rock here. Rhys McKee matches Kazmat Chimaev, physically speaking, just 1 for 1. He's just as big as him. He's just as long and as broad as him. That's going to make this fight extremely interesting. And then they went nose to nose for the weigh-ins. I mean, for the face down. They were both so confident. Neither man really blinking. And then it was really funny. They were getting off the stage. Kazmat didn't realize they had to do like the flexing for the cameras next to each other thing, and he went for like a body lock takedown on Reese, which was pretty humorous. It was all fun. It wasn't something that he was like seriously going for, and Reese fended him off. So I saw a couple people on Twitter already saying that Reese defended the takedown, so bet him. He's a lock at this point. Alex Cowboy Oliveira, Peter Sorbata, both men come in at 171. Big smile. Alex Oliveira was quick to get on and off the scale. He looked like he was enjoying himself. Peter Sorbata, he looked thick. He looks like he put on some muscle. He's been doing some work. Big flex, confident, respectful face-off. Both men look absolutely ready to go here. That's going to be a fun one. Once again, we're going to roll on the dog and just hope he gets it done. Paul Bearjew Craig comes in at 206, and he looked great. I mean, this guy's always in great shape. He's always intense. He's a big, mean dude. Antigulov, all business. Got up on the scales, got off extremely quickly. He came in at 206 as well. Everybody's using that 1 pound allowance. It's kind of crazy. Nobody's coming in on point this week, I guess. Craig, a decent chunk larger. I mean, we knew he was going to be big, but when you see the face-offs, it's evident just how big and long this guy is. He was wearing his usual face paint, which I always love to see, and he went for Antigulov's hat. Antigulov was wearing like a trucker hat, and Paul Craig went to like take it off of him, and that caused a problem. They had to be separated. I mean, it was intense. Both these guys were ready to go. That's going to be a fun fight, and I don't expect it to last very long. My heart still says that Paul Craig is going to win by submission, but I'm not going to bet it. Carla Esparza taking on Marina Rodriguez. Carla Esparza was business as usual. The feed on the stream cut out, so I didn't get to see a whole lot there, but she seemed like she was just fine. I'm not worried about her at the weigh-ins, especially if she doesn't miss weight. She's a professional. She knows what she's doing. Rodriguez comes in at 115.5. She only needed the half-pound allowance, and she seemed extremely confident. Again, no issues. These two kept their distance when they did the face-off. Both of them took their shirts off to basically reveal their abs, get that show off a little bit based on the shape that they're in. And Rodriguez, the size difference. Just once again, this is a story of size. She is much, much bigger than Carla, and as long as she can hold that range, I think she's going to have an easy night. Just needs to defend the takedowns. Here's the fun one. Fabricio Werdum coming in against Alexander Gustafsson. Now, Gus comes in at 240 pounds, and he was looking thick. I mean, he's a big boy, and he was always big for 205. Moving up to heavyweight, you think, maybe you just don't cut weight, that kind of thing. He didn't look necessarily bad, but I mean, all heavyweights tend to look a little flabby. They're carrying a little extra around, but I wasn't expecting him to come in quite at 240. I thought maybe 230, 235, something like that. So a bit bigger than I expected. Werdum comes in at 242. Here's the interesting part, folks. Fabricio Werdum comes in at 242, seemed very happy, looked very in shape, and when they faced off, he was ice cold. This man got up in Alexander Gustafsson's face, and he was intense. He looked thicker than Gus, as a natural heavyweight would, and he matched Gus's size. He was just the bigger man. So, y'all, I got to do it. I told you all in the breakdowns on Monday that I was looking for any excuse, any reason to fade Alexander Gustafsson, because I simply don't believe in this man. And I got it. Fabricio Werdum looked good on the scales. Fabricio Werdum looked mean on the scales. He looks like he is ready to fight. And because of that, I'm backing him. I got Fabricio Werdum at plus 270, and I'm hitting it. I'm betting it, folks. I told you all I was going to take this opportunity to bet Gus if I could. The other option I mentioned was Gus by decision. However, I wanted to wait until I saw the face-offs and the weigh-ins for that. And rather than betting on Gus in this fight and hoping that Fabricio can survive 15 minutes, I'm just going to straight take the former champion, all right? Gus is a broken man, in my opinion, and when he gets in there and he feels the physicality of Fabricio Werdum, the size difference really matters to me here. I thought Gus was going to have a height and reach advantage. I thought Gus was going to look like he was still a little bit bigger even than Fabricio, but that's not the case. He came in here and Fabricio is showing me what a real heavyweight looks like, and this guy adding on a couple of extra pounds and moving up. After giving up and being broken in his last fight, now facing a man who's a champion caliber fighter who finally looks motivated coming off an embarrassing loss, yeah, I'm going to roll those dice. Let's go Fabricio Werdum, baby. I can't do his face. I don't know how he does it. It's in the tweet. Check my official bet tweet. That's the face I'm trying to make there. Mauricio Shogun Rua taking on Antonio Rogerio Nogueira, the biggest fireball and popcorn fight of the entire card. Both men looked about as you would expect, right? Hua never changes. He looked the same as ever. And Nog, he looked old and a little bit saggy, kind of as you see with these fighters. He's 44 years old. I mean, what do you expect? But he still had his guns. He still's got those big old thick cannons that he's working with. And Nog just seemed bigger and more imposing. I know Hua has already won 2 out of these 3 fights, but I feel like Nog might get a little revenge here in the rubber match, in the retirement fight. But again, complete stay away, not betting it, but my soul is just saying that Nogueira finds a way to get this one done. Robert the Reaper Whittaker, Darren Till. This fight, the closer we get, the more and more excited I get for this fight. So we all know I'm on the Reaper. I'm already on Till. I'm already on Whittaker. And I love everything that I'm seeing from them. Both men came out at 176. Whittaker laser focused. I love, like I said before, I love the switch that he flips. He goes from being the nicest, funnest guy on the planet to being the meanest son of a bitch you've ever seen in your life when it comes to fight time. When they faced off, it was seriously intense. Till finally met his eyes, unlike in the face-off that we saw when they were out on the beach the other day. He met his eyes. He didn't want to leave the stage. Intense stare down. Both men ready to go. Both men just oozing confidence. I can't wait for this fight. This is such a good fight, and I can't wait to see how it plays out. There you go, folks. There's your recap. We added 2 official bets. We've got Tom Aspinall. We're laying the wood there, and then we're going to roll the dice on our big man, Fabricio Werdum. The beauty of this situation is based on these lines. If we go 1-1 on those picks, as long as we hit one of them, we're breaking even. So I see no problem with adding these 2 plays, and if we can manage to hit both of them, then we're going to stack some extra units here on this card. I love it. Good luck on all your action. I know there's MLB going on today for everybody, so if you're betting like a degenerate, then I hope you make some extra cash, a few extra bullets for the fights tomorrow. Make sure you check out the boys over at Odds HQ. We'll be live streaming this afternoon with some final bet predictions, and then, of course, tomorrow all throughout the fights. Good luck, everybody. Let's roll.